I got fined $1,500 for uneven snow piles. Yeah, you heard that right. Not for missing a storm, not for blocking a driveway, not for wrecking somebody's mailbox, for pushing snow to the wrong side of a road. I was halfway through my coffee that morning when Brenda Morrison knocked on my door like she was delivering a subpoena from Mount Olympus. White puffy jacket zipped to her chin, hair shellacked into place. Holding an envelope with the Pine Ridge Estates logo stamped on the front like it was a royal decree. And that knock, that was the moment my quiet little snow removal business turned into a full-blown legal drama over snow aesthetics. Let me back up a sec. My name's Owen Patterson. I've lived in rural Vermont about 15 years now, just outside Stowe. I run a small snow removal business, plowing driveways, sanding icy lots, keeping rural roads passable when the nor'easters decide to dump half the Atlantic on us. For 8 winters straight, I held the contract to plow the private road leading up to Pine Ridge Estates, gated community, 37 big houses perched up on a wooded hillside like they're auditioning for a luxury cabin calendar. That road, 2 miles long, winding, steep in places, not public. The town doesn't touch it. It crosses my property under an easement, which just means they're allowed to use it to get to their homes. It does not mean I'm obligated to babysit it, but for 8 years I plowed it under contract. Road always clear. Emergency vehicles always had access. No accidents, no complaints. Until Brenda. She hands me that envelope and says, all syrupy sweet, "We believe in open communication with our service providers." I open it. It's a formal notice, $1,500 fine for uneven snow removal practices creating aesthetic concerns. Aesthetic concerns. Apparently, the snow piles on the north side of the road were higher than the ones on the south side. I stared at her. "You want symmetrical snow? We expect uniform snow distribution," she said, like she was discussing table settings at a wedding. "Now listen, snow doesn't care about symmetry. You push it where gravity and terrain allow. Wind direction matters. Drainage matters. If I start worrying about visual balance instead of physics, somebody's car ends up in a ditch." I told her exactly that. She smiled tighter. "The fine stands. 30 days. Yeah, that happened. I called my lawyer, Tom Chin, good guy, handles small business stuff around here. He read the letter and laughed so hard I had to pull the phone away from my ear. "Owen," he said, "this is insane. We reviewed the contract. It said I was responsible for safe and timely snow removal. Nothing about making snow look like a Hallmark movie set. So I sent a certified letter refusing to pay. 3 days later, they terminated my contract. And that's when the twist hit me. See that private road, it runs through my land. The easement guarantees access. It does not require me to maintain it. I had been plowing because they paid me. Now they'd fired me. So legally, I didn't have to touch it. I called Tom again. If I don't plow, what happens? Long pause. Papers rustling. Then I hear him grin through the phone. "Owen, this is beautiful. Maintenance responsibility falls on the beneficiaries unless specified otherwise." "It's not specified. They fired you. That road? Not your problem." 3 days later, a nor'easter dumped 18 inches overnight. 6 a.m., my phone started blowing up. Residents couldn't get out. Missed work. Missed appointments. "You'll need to contact your HOA, I told them. By noon, Brenda showed up in designer boots, trudging through knee-deep snow because her Mercedes got stuck halfway up my driveway. "You need to plow immediately." "No, I don't. You're trapping us. You terminated my contract." Every other plow service in the county was booked solid. Storm of the season. Bad timing for power plays. She threatened to sue. I told her to go ahead. Over the next few days, chaos erupted inside Pine Ridge. Turns out most homeowners had no idea about the fine. A lawyer who lived near the gate, Patricia Holmes, showed up at my place 4 days later. Snow showed up properly dressed for Vermont and apologized. "Brenda's been on a power trip since she became HOA president," she said over coffee. "We want to fix this." Now here's the part that felt good. I laid out my terms. Fine rescinded. Formal apology. New contract with clear language. No vague, aesthetic standards. Upfront payment for the season, plus penalty fee for the emergency mess. And Brenda delivers the apology personally. Patricia didn't blink. "I can work with that." That evening she called. Board voted 4-1 in my favor. Brenda was suspended pending a removal vote. Next morning, I had a check and a signed apology letter in my hand. Brenda refused to sign it herself, but the board majority did. By noon, the road was clear. Residents practically hugged me. Some tipped on top of the new rate. I thought that was the end of it. Nope. 2 weeks later, Brenda sued me personally for intentional infliction of emotional distress. She represented herself. The hearing was in March. Lamel County Superior Court. Judge Harold Kemper looked like a man who had seen too many petty disputes in his lifetime. Brenda stood up with dramatic photos of the unplowed road, talking about fear and hardship and suffering. Tom calmly presented the timeline: bogus fine, contract termination, easement terms. The judge looked at Brenda and asked, "Do you have any statutory authority requiring a private citizen to maintain an easement at their own expense after termination of a service contract?" She said, "It's common decency." He blinked. Common decency is not a legal standard. Case dismissed. With prejudice. And he ordered her to pay my legal fees. We walked out into bright March sunlight, and I felt 10 pounds lighter. But here's where it gets cinematic. After losing her position in a landslide vote, 32-3, Brenda didn't go quietly. Nails started showing up scattered across the road at night. Tires slashed. Profanity spray-painted on the entrance sign. Cameras went up. 2 weeks later, footage caught her at 2 a.m., dumping construction nails and slashing Patricia's tires. Vermont State Police picked her up the next morning. Criminal mischief. Vandalism. Destruction of property. She got probation, community service, restitution, over 15 grand, and mandatory counseling. Her house went on the market. By June, she was gone. Yeah, that happened too. Patricia became HOA president. They renewed my contract. Significant raise, clear language. My obligation is to keep the road safely passable. Period. That 4th of July, they invited me to the community barbecue as a thank you. Gerald, one of the residents who'd panicked during the storm, pulled me aside. "Did you know it would cause that much chaos when you stopped plowing?" Honestly, I knew it'd be inconvenient. I didn't expect every plow in the county to be booked solid. But you weren't going to back down. "No," I said. "If I'd paid that fine, what stops the next one?" That was the line. Business started growing after that. Word got around, the crazy HOA fine, the court dismissal, the whole saga. I landed new contracts. Expanded to year-round road maintenance for Pine Ridge. Bought another truck. Hired 2 employees. That next winter, I plowed the road exactly the same way I always had. Snow piles gloriously uneven. Nobody said a word. During one brutal February storm, 2 feet in 36 hours, I worked almost non-stop to keep emergency access open. At 3 in the morning, I finished my last pass. Snow banks towering 8 feet high on one side, barely a foot on the other depending on the terrain. Objectively uneven as hell. Functionally perfect. My phone buzzed. Text from Patricia. "Road is perfect. Thank you. Stay safe." That's all I ever wanted: respect, professionalism, clarity. You know what I learned? It was never about snow. It was about control. About someone needing to assert authority where it wasn't necessary. About inventing standards just to feel powerful. If I'd just paid the fine and grumbled under my breath, she'd still be president. The nonsense would have continued. Instead, one absurd demand exposed the whole thing. And here's the satisfying part: the road resurfacing project that summer went flawlessly. Under budget. Ahead of schedule. They gave me a bonus. Referred me to other properties. My business grew because I stood my ground. Sometimes standing up costs you. Sometimes it costs the other person a lot more. Now every winter when I drive that 2-mile stretch through the forest, pushing snow where gravity tells me to push it, I smile when I pass the spot where Brenda's Mercedes got stuck. The snow piles rise unevenly on either side, functional, practical, unapologetic. And I think about how close I came to just writing that $1,500 check. So here's the question I keep turning over. Where's the line between keeping the peace and letting yourself get pushed around? When does professionalism mean compliance, and when does it mean saying no? Because sometimes justice isn't dramatic. Sometimes it's just a plow truck at 3 in the morning, a road cleared on your terms, and a judge reminding someone that common decency isn't a legal argument. If you've ever dealt with an HOA, a boss, a client who tried to invent rules just to flex, I'd love to hear it. Would you have paid the fine to avoid the headache? Or would you have done exactly what I did and let the snow fall where it may? Drop your thoughts below. Where do you draw the line between peace and principle?